The Zentheran Expectations High Commander Vexthal stood on the command bridge of the Dominion's edge, the flagship of the Zentheran Empire's third expansion fleet. His 4 arms crossed behind his back as he gazed through the reinforced viewing ports at the primitive blue world spinning slowly below. Earth, the birth world of the species that dared to request audience with the mighty Zentheran Empire. The bridge hummed with the quiet efficiency of advanced alien technology. Holographic displays flickered with data streams, showing the positions of his 200-ship armada, arranged in perfect formation around the human solar system. Each vessel was a testament to Zentheran superiority, bristling with plasma cannons and quantum torpedoes that had reduced rebellious worlds to ash across 47 star systems. "Status report," Vexthal commanded, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had never known defeat. His translator implant converted his words into the crude, human language for the benefit of the primitive delegation standing nervously at the edge of his bridge. Commander Zeethkal, his second-in-command, approached with measured steps. "All ships report ready status. Our sensors show no significant military presence in this system. A few orbital platforms, some crude missile installations, nothing that could threaten even our smallest scout vessel." Vexthal's mandibles clicked in what passed for a smile among his species. He turned to face the human delegation, a small group of 5 individuals who had been granted the rare privilege of boarding a Zentheran warship. They wore their finest diplomatic uniforms, but to Zentheran eyes, they appeared pathetically fragile. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stepped forward, her diplomatic training helping her maintain composure despite the obvious disdain radiating from their alien hosts. "High Commander, we appreciate this opportunity to establish relations between our peoples. Earth extends its hand in friendship and hopes for peaceful cooperation." The Zentheran officers exchanged glances that needed no translation. Vexthal approached the human ambassador, his towering frame casting a shadow over the delegation. Nearly 3 meters tall, with chitinous armor naturally growing from his skin and eyes that glowed with bioluminescent intensity, he was designed to intimidate. "Friendship," he repeated, tasting the foreign concept. "You speak of friendship between a child and an adult, between an insect and a giant. Your species discovered faster than light travel merely 2 centuries ago. The Zentheran Empire has ruled the stars for over 10,000 years." Ambassador Vasquez remained steady, though her companions shifted uncomfortably. "Every great civilization started somewhere, High Commander. Perhaps there are things we could learn from each other." Vexthal's laugh was a harsh, grinding sound. "Learn? What could the masters of 47 star systems possibly learn from a species that has barely escaped? Their own gravity well?" He gestured toward the viewing port. "Your entire military consists of what? A few hundred ships scattered across your local systems? Primitive chemical rockets with nuclear warheads?" The silence stretched uncomfortably. Ambassador Vasquez chose her words carefully. "We believe in peaceful coexistence, High Commander. Our military is ... adequate for our defensive needs." "Defensive?" Vexthal moved to a control console, his claws dancing across holographic interfaces. The main display activated, showing detailed scans of Earth's orbital defenses. These crude installations would not delay a single Zentheran cruiser for more than moments. "Your largest warships are smaller than our escort vessels." Commander Zeethkal added, "High Commander, our deep space sensors confirm no hidden fleets, no advanced shipyards. What they show us is all they possess." The insult hung in the recycled air like a toxic cloud. Ambassador Vasquez felt her diplomatic composure straining. "High Commander, we came here in good faith, hoping to establish trade relations and mutual understanding. We're not seeking conflict." Vexthal turned slowly, his glowing eyes fixed on the human diplomat. "Conflict? There can be no conflict between gods and insects. He moved to another console, bringing up a tactical display. To demonstrate the vast gulf between our civilizations, allow me to provide a practical lesson. The display showed a human colony ship, the New Horizon, carrying 50,000 civilians toward a newly established settlement in the Alpha Centauri system. The massive vessel moved peacefully through space, its hull gleaming with solar collectors and hydroponic bays visible through transparent sections. "No," Ambassador Vasquez whispered, understanding immediately. Vexthal's mandibles clicked again. One demonstration. One lesson in the reality of power. He spoke into his communicator. "Weapons officer, target the human civilian vessel. Single. Plasma burst. Make it quick. High Commander, please." Ambassador Vasquez stepped forward. "Those are innocent people. Families, children." "Exactly," Vexthal replied coldly. "The weak exist at the mercy of the strong. This is natural law." The New Horizon disappeared in a brief flash of green light. 50,000 human lives extinguished in an instant to satisfy an alien's wounded pride. The human delegation stood in stunned silence, unable to process the casual genocide they had just witnessed. Ambassador Vasquez found her voice, though it shook with rage and grief. "You've just committed an act of war against humanity." Vexthal laughed again. "War? With what? Your handful of ships? Your chemical rockets?" He gestured dismissively. "Return to your world, little ambassador. Tell your leaders that the Zentharan Empire has noted their existence. If they remain quiet and acknowledge our superiority, they will be allowed to continue existing on the fringes of our domain." But as the human delegation was escorted back to their shuttle, something was happening. In the depths of space that Zentharan sensors could not detect. Admiral Marcus Chun, commander of Earth's actual military forces, received word of the New Horizon's destruction while standing on the bridge of the Quantum Storm, flagship of humanity's first strike fleet. The 58-year-old admiral had spent his entire career preparing for this moment. Earth's public face was intentionally humble, showing only a fraction of their true capabilities. The real human fleet existed in the shadows, built in hidden shipyards in the outer system, powered by technology that made Zentharan vessels look like antiques. "Admiral," reported Captain Sarah Torres from her position at the tactical station. "The Shadow Walker confirms visual on the Zentharan fleet. 200 vessels in standard formation. No active defensive screens. They're not even trying to hide." Admiral Chun studied the holographic display showing the enemy positions. Each Zentharan ship was tagged with detailed information gathered by Earth's stealth reconnaissance network. "Arrogance," he murmured. "It's always been their weakness." His communications officer, Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison, looked up from his station. "Sir, we're receiving transmission from the diplomatic shuttle. Ambassador Vasquez reports total failure of negotiations. The aliens ... They destroyed the New Horizon." The bridge fell silent. Every officer present had friends or family who had served on colony ships. The New Horizon represented hope, humanity's reach toward the stars. Its destruction was personal to every human in the fleet. Admiral Chun closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of command. When he opened them, they held the cold fire of determination. "All ships, prepare for Operation Revelation. Let's show these aliens what humanity really looks like when we stop pretending to be primitive." Across the solar system, human vessels began to move. Not the crude chemical rockets the Zentharans expected, but sleek ships powered by fusion drives and equipped with technology that bent the laws of physics to humanity's will. The Quantum Storm and her sister ships materialized from hyperspace with precision that made Zentharan FTO look clumsy. On the bridge of Dominion's edge, sensor technician Krixva stared at his displays in confusion. "High Commander, I'm detecting Anomalies. Vexthal, still basking in the satisfaction of crushing human hopes, merely looked up. Anomalies? Energy signatures. Multiple contacts appearing throughout the system. But that's impossible. Our long-range sensors showed nothing. Vexthal finally gave his attention to the readouts. What he saw made his bioluminescent eyes dim with shock. Human ships, dozens of them, appearing from nowhere with energy signatures that rivaled Zentheran dreadnoughts. Their designs were alien to him, flowing curves and impossible geometries that hurt to look at. Impossible, he whispered. Where did they come from? The answer came in the form of a transmission that cut through every communication channel on every Zentheran ship simultaneously. Admiral Chun's face appeared on screens throughout the alien fleet, his expression calm, but carrying an unmistakable edge of menace. High Commander Vexthal, he began, his voice somehow translated into perfect. Zentheran, you have destroyed a human civilian vessel carrying 50,000 innocent lives. You have declared yourself an enemy of humanity through your actions. I am Admiral Marcus Chun of the Human Space Force, and I'm here to teach you about the reality of power. Vexthal found his voice. Your ships. Where did they come from? Our sensors detected nothing. Admiral Chun smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. You expected primitive ships, High Commander. You scanned for chemical rockets and nuclear warheads. You never thought to look for quantum displacement drives, adaptive camouflage, or weapons that exist in 11 dimensions. That was your first mistake. The human ships moved with impossible grace, their formations flowing like liquid mercury around the Zentheran fleet. Energy readings spiked beyond anything in Zentheran databases. Weapon systems came online that defied known physics. Your second mistake, Admiral Chun continued, was assuming that because we chose not to show our strength, we had no strength to show. Humanity has learned that the greatest advantage often comes from being underestimated. Vexthal's mandibles clicked frantically as he tried to process what he was seeing. All ships, battle stations. Prepare to engage the human fleet. But even as he gave the order, he felt something he had never experienced in his centuries of conquest. For the first time in Zentheran history, they were facing an enemy that might actually be superior to them. The humans had hidden their true nature behind a mask of primitive diplomacy, and that mask was finally coming off. The battle for the future of both species was about to begin. Asterisk, the battle that changed everything. The first, Zentheran plasma volley lit up the void like artificial stars. 200 warships fired simultaneously, their combined firepower enough to crack a planet's crust. The beams converged on the human formation with mathematical precision, following targeting solutions that had never failed in a millennium of conquest. The plasma struck nothing but empty space. High Commander Vexthal stared at his displays in disbelief. The human ships had simply vanished, not moved, not jumped to hyperspace, but flickered out of existence like ghosts. Where are they? He roared. Sensor technician Crixva's hands trembled over his instruments. High Commander, I'm detecting massive gravitational distortions. The humans, they're not just moving through space, they're manipulating it, folding it around themselves. Before Vexthal could respond, the human ships reappeared, not where they had been, but scattered throughout. The Zentheran formation like seeds in the wind. The quantum storm materialized directly above Dominion's edge, close enough that the alien crew could see the strange, flowing hull markings that seemed to shift and change as they watched. Admiral Chun's voice filled every Zentheran ship again. High Commander, your weapons are impressive, but you're fighting yesterday's war with yesterday's thinking. Allow me to demonstrate tomorrow's. The human ships didn't fire conventional weapons. Instead, they released clouds of what looked like metallic dust. The particles spread through the Zentheran formation like a slow-motion explosion, each mote no larger than a grain of sand, but moving with purpose. "What is this?" Vexthol demanded. His answer came as the particles began to attach themselves to Zentheran hulls. Within seconds, they were replicating, covering the alien ships in a silver skin that pulsed with unknown energy. The Zentheran vessels found their weapons offline, their engines sputtering, their shields failing. "Nanoscale disruptors, Admiral," Chun explained calmly. "They're rewriting your ship systems at the molecular level. Don't worry, High Commander. Your crew is perfectly safe. We're just teaching your ships to be more cooperative." Commander Zethkal frantically worked his console. "High Commander, we've lost weapons control. Engineering reports the nanites are interfacing with our computer core. They're not destroying anything there. Improving it?" It was true. The human nanites weren't damaging Zentheran systems. They were optimizing them. Engines that had been running at 80% efficiency suddenly jumped to 95%. Weapons that took 30 seconds to charge were now ready in 20. The aliens' own ships were being turned into superior versions of themselves, but they were no longer under Zentheran control. Vexthol watched in horror as his flagship's main guns rotated to target his own fleet. "This is impossible. Our security protocols, our quantum encryption, were state-of-the-art 10,000 years ago," Admiral Chun replied. "But technology doesn't stand still, High Commander. While your empire grew comfortable in its dominance, humanity spent 2 centuries preparing for this day. We studied every signal you've ever broadcast, reverse-engineered every piece of technology we could find, and built something better. The human demonstration wasn't finished." Captain Sarah Torres, commanding the stealth vessel Shadow Walker, had been moving through the Zentheran formation undetected. Her ship existed in a state of quantum uncertainty, technically present, but unmeasurable by any known sensors. She had positioned herself next to the largest Zentheran dreadnought, a massive vessel called Eternal Domination. "Admiral," her voice crackled over the human communication network, "I'm in position, ready to show them what real stealth looks like." "Proceed, Captain," Admiral Chun responded. What happened next defied every principle of space. "Combat the Zentherans." "Understood." The Shadow Walker didn't attack the dreadnought. Instead, it simply moved through it. The human ship passed through the Zentheran vessel like a ghost through a wall, its quantum phase shifters allowing it to exist in the spaces between. Atoms dot as it moved through the dreadnought's superstructure. The Shadow Walker left behind a gift. A single human officer, Lieutenant Commander Rachel Park, rematerialized on the alien bridge wearing a standard EVA suit and carrying what looked like a simple handheld device. The Zentheran crew stumbled backward in shock. Their ship's sensors had detected nothing. Their shields hadn't even registered a breach. A human had simply appeared in the most secure location of their most powerful vessel. "Lieutenant," Commander Park activated her universal translator. "Greetings," she said politely to the terrified alien crew. "I'm here to deliver a message from Admiral Chun. Please don't be alarmed. I'm not here to hurt anyone." She held up the device in her hand. "This is a quantum communicator. It's now linked to your ship's main computer. Admiral Chun would like to speak with your captain." The Zentheran captain, a veteran named Gorvik Tal, who had conquered 17 worlds, found his voice. How did you get here?" "Our shields, our sensors. We're looking for things that exist in normal space-time," Park explained gently. "I took a more creative route." "The message, Captain?" With shaking claws, Gorvik Tal activated the communicator. Admiral Chun's face appeared on the screen, and for the first time in his life, the Zentheran captain felt what it meant to be prey facing a predator. Asterisk, Captain Gorvik Tal, Admiral Chun said, somehow knowing his name despite never having met. Him. I want you to understand something. Lieutenant Commander Park could have brought a bomb instead of a communicator. She could have appeared on every ship in your fleet simultaneously. She could have disabled your life support or turned your own weapons against your crew. But she didn't. Do you know why? The alien captain shook his head mutely. Because unlike High Commander Vex Thul, humanity doesn't believe in senseless slaughter. We could have destroyed your entire fleet before you knew we were here. Instead, we're giving you a choice. Back on Dominion's edge, Vex Thul was beginning to understand the true scope of his predicament. Every ship in his fleet was now under human control. His weapons were useless, his shields down, his engines responding to commands from human vessels. But his crew was alive, unharmed, simply witnesses to their own defeat. Asterisk. You want us to surrender? He said, his voice hollow. No, Admiral. Chun replied, and his response surprised everyone listening. I want you to understand. High Commander, you destroyed the New Horizon because you saw weakness in our peaceful approach. You mistook restraint for inability, diplomacy for cowardice. That's why your empire is failing. Vex Thul's bioluminescent eyes flared. Failing? The Zentharan Empire has ruled for 10 millennia. And in all that time, what have you built? What have you created? Admiral Chun's voice carried a sadness that transcended species barriers. You've conquered worlds, subjugated peoples, demanded tribute, but you've never grown, never learned, never adapted. Your technology is the same as it was 1,000 years ago because you believed you had reached perfection. The truth of those words struck Vex Thul like a physical blow. The Zentharan Empire had indeed grown stagnant. They conquered not from need, but from habit, maintained power not through innovation, but through fear. Humanity took a different path, Admiral Chun continued. When we realized we weren't alone in the universe, we didn't assume we were superior. We assumed we had everything to learn. We studied, we adapted, we grew. Every challenge made us stronger. Every setback taught us something new. Throughout the Zentharan fleet, alien crews were witnessing something unprecedented. Human boarding parties were appearing on their ships, but instead of taking prisoners or seizing control, they were offering medical aid, sharing technology, even helping repair systems that had been damaged in the brief confrontation. On the dreadnought Eternal Domination, Lieutenant Commander Park was showing the Zentharan crew a medical scanner that could detect diseases their own technology missed. This isn't conquest, she explained to Captain Gorvekto. This is what first contact should have been. Sharing knowledge, helping each other grow. High Commander Vex Thul felt something cracking inside his chest. Not physically, but something deeper. The foundation of everything he had believed about strength, about power, about the natural order of the universe. Why? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. Why show us this? Why not simply destroy us and take our territory? Admiral Chun's expression softened. Because, High Commander, humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our belief that everyone deserves a chance to be better than they were yesterday. Your empire doesn't have to end. It can transform. Over the next several hours, something unprecedented in galactic history began to unfold. Human and Zentharan crews worked together, sharing knowledge and techniques. The humans demonstrated medical technologies that could extend Zentharan lifespans by centuries. The Zentharans shared manufacturing processes that could revolutionize human industry. Young sensor technician Krixva found himself working alongside a human engineer named David Chun, the Admiral's nephew. Together, they developed a sensor array that combined Zentharan quantum processing with human adaptive algorithms. The result was technology neither species could have created alone. This is what we could have had from the beginning, Krixva mused, watching their collaborative creation come online. Imagine what our peoples could accomplish together instead of in conflict. David smiled. That's exactly what my uncle was hoping you'd realize. The transformation wasn't just technological. High Commander Vextol, forced to confront the hollowness of his empire's philosophy, began to see possibilities he had never imagined. When Admiral Chun finally met with him face-to-face aboard the Quantum Storm, the Zentheran leader was a changed being. "Your ships," Vextol said, gesturing at the human vessel's impossibly elegant corridors. "They're not just machines of war. They homes. I see children playing in the observation lounges, families sharing meals. Your crew serves not from fear, but from purpose." Admiral Chun nodded. "Every human ship carries a piece of our culture, our hopes for the future. We don't fight to conquer, High Commander. We fight to protect what we love." The meeting between the two leaders lasted for days. Maps were redrawn, not through conquest, but through negotiation. The Zentheran Empire's 47 subjugated worlds were offered independence with both human and reformed Zentheran protection. Trade agreements were established. Cultural exchange programs were planned. Most importantly, a new philosophy began to emerge. The Galactic Cooperation Initiative, jointly led by Earth and a reformed Zentheran government, established principles that would guide interstellar relations for generations to come. Strength through diversity. Growth through cooperation. Peace through understanding. 6 months after the encounter that could have become a genocidal war, High Commander Vextol stood once again on his bridge. But now it was the bridge of an exploration vessel, not a warship. The Dominion's Edge had been converted into a mobile research station, its weapons replaced with laboratories and diplomatic facilities. "Krixva," he called to his former censor. "Technician, now his science officer. What's our status?" "Sir, we're approaching the Andromedans' first contact beacon. They appear to be a peaceful species, but their technology is completely unlike anything we've encountered." Vextol's mandibles clicked, but this time it was with anticipation, not aggression. "Excellent. Signal the human ships to take flanking. Positions. Let's show the Andromedans what real first contact looks like." As the joint human-Zentheran fleet approached their new challenge, Admiral Chun's words echoed through both species' cultures. Humanity had proven that their greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their military might. It was their unshakable belief that any being, any species, any civilization could choose to be better than they had been before. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly what humanity had hoped for. Asterisk